Looks like everything is working, so we'll go through this. So I'll start with the drafts, and then I'll go into each game, and then follow back up with the drafts again. So this is game one. So we got the draft pulled up. I believe this is game one. Let me double check. Yes, this is game one. Maybe. Okay. Okay, so we will go into this. What I'll do is I'll break these up into individual VODs and post these so that you guys can watch these all together, or at a later date. This makes it easier on me, and then you guys can give questions or whatever you, or disagree, or we can discuss them at a later date. I just like doing this because they allow me to think and not be interrupted through my thought processes through everything, and then I like to talk about them at a later date. So let's go through the draft of game one. So first, the pick for y'all was Victor. Bans, I think are what they are, just depending on how you guys want to draft and your opposing team what they play. So an example of this. So I actually think Ash is super first pick worthy. I think like tier lists for ADCs are Ash is probably the highest. Varus is pretty high. AP carries are super high right now, like Lux or Seraphine or Swain are all really, really good too. I think Jin is pretty solid, but I think the general consensus, the top two are Ash and Varus, followed by Callista if it's like really high elo. And then from there, it's like Jinx, Caitlyn, MF in the right situations, Ezreal in the right situations, Smolder in the right situations, kind of like that. I don't think meta matters quite as much for this level of elo. I think that it more matters as you get into high diamond masters plus, or even low diamond plus, but it's still helpful to play things that are strong in the meta. But it always go with comfort over everything else. But I think Victor's a great first pick. I just think the champion is really, really strong, especially if it's a high prio pick. I just think Victor is a great first pick. So I think that's a great pick. They insta-lock the Yasuo and the Diana. So I discussed this already. I actually don't. So I think the Zaya pick usually is really bad this early. I think because they first pick Yasuo Diana that you guys can get away with it here. You just have to be really, really careful with drafting a Zaya that early because they could theoretically try and pivot and go to outrange you guys, and Zaya becomes absolutely useless in that against that type of team composition. Just can't do anything. For her to do her damage, she needs people who will go into her, right? So I think you can get away with it that early just because they pick Yasuo Diana. I just be wary and understanding that a good team, even with the Yasuo Diana, could theoretically pivot, though this is a really, really hard commit to a dive composition. So I'm okay with the Zaya this early. I probably pair it with a support here. While I think holding the Poppy isn't terrible, I mentioned it in the discussion. I personally like Rakan right here, but I think with them picking Yasuo Diana, I think you could have picked the Poppy right there as well. Because theoretically, if like they picked Milio, why would Milio doesn't need to be banned against this composition, and Bess is strong, but they could have banned Poppy here. Like they should have banned Poppy instead of Milio right here, and then that would have made your guys' picks a little more difficult. So I do think a Poppy a little bit earlier is probably better. I personally think the Rakan is better, but I think either one were very strong here. The only reason I think Rakan does so well here is because it's the Xayah Rakan combo. They then continue to go into the all engaged composition though. So we get the Viego. Viego's fine. Viego's kind of a jack of all trades. I mean, he gets to take, gets resets in fights. He can be crazy strong, all the different things. So I think Viego's a fine pick as well. You could have also gone for Like a Xin Zhao would have been really good. Was Xin banned? It wasn't. I think Xin Zhao just for the disengage versus Diana Yasuo can be really potent to create space for the Xayah and allow her a little bit extra time to be able to get her feathers and to disengage. So I think Xin would have been an additional option, but I think Viego's just a good kind of does it all type pick. So I think that's a fine pick. Kai'Sa they match. So they really commit to the dive at this point. They bans are whatever. I find the Jax ban interesting. I don't know if again I don't know what the champions. I didn't look at their champ pools. I think the Jax or the Maokai is fine in Jax. So if you're considering Maokai, I don't think you need to ban Jax. You also play Gragas, which does well into the Jax. So I kind of feel like that ban is kind of whatever. The Sante, that's a fine ban, I guess. Again, I don't know the champ pool, so whatever is best for their champ pool. They could have been great bans. They could have been kind of whatever bans because I do think Maokai nullifies either of those lanes. So does Gragas. So I think it's kind of you could have gone with either of those and been totally fine. Rakan, they pick Rakan. Okay, we pick Poppy. Great. We pick Maokai. Great blind pick. And they pick Galio, which is a weird answer. But they really just commit to that dive type composition. So overall, I think you guys have the tools to be able to disengage. Like I said, I think is something that would have given a little more power to the disengage is maybe a Zen. Maokai gives a not quite as great disengage. He gives really good kite back. A Gragas could have been really, really good there too, and just build tanky Gragas. I think were some of the other options. But I think overall this draft is really solid. I like this draft a lot, especially into the team composition that they decided to play. So now we'll skip over to the actual game itself.
Until minions spawn.
Oops, let's get the right one up. There we go.
Minions have spawned.
Let's pause. Get rid of those two things. That doesn't matter right now. I don't think you need to go that deep when you're warding this ward here. That's really scary to try and ward that deep. You really just need to drop it right here. You'll see you'll get all the vision you need right here in this area. So I think this is just a little. You just went deeper than you needed to go. You didn't get punished for it, so that's good. But if they were in the position, they could have really punished you for that. So I just don't think you need to go quite as deep. You just need to go to about this line right here, and you would have gotten that ward just fine. We'll skim through this. Okay. Great pin. I mean, you just punished him. That was fantastic. So that was just a really good punish. Them not knowing what to do here. Trade patterns on top are a little rough. You're getting really, really low. I'd be just wary of that. Oh, he messed up. Oh, he still gets a kill. That's unfortunate. Let's see how this played out. Let's go back on this a little bit. So I think this is a fine how aggro you guys are playing. Jay, you need to be moving towards your team right here. I think you walking back up there is really bad. I think while you're trying to create this, because your team has it here, you need to be playing more towards your team. You're so spread out that it just leaves you and it leaves Poppy out really bad. So if you guys, like, Poppy kind of gets caught in this awkward spot if you look, trying to assist you while also trying to still help. Like, kind of walks forward, then walks back, and then walks back forward. And it leaves you to having to burn flash. You lose a lot of stuff, and you guys trade another kill. So overall, you trade up. because that you die, but you get a stun right there. But if you just play this back and less aggressive, just play it with the Poppy and kind of rotate into this bush earlier, I think you all get out just fine, and you probably get an additional kill. So I just think you just played that a little too aggressive with where your team was. It worked out okay, but you dying and having to flash isn't quite as good. So not fantastic, but not terrible either. This could have been a little bit cleaner if you would have played it a little slower. Excuse me. Good trades. So they go for the trade on the Drake for hair or for Grubbies, but this reset looked like it took way longer than it should have on the Xayah. I guess not. Maybe that's just timing needs to be a little bit better. See when it crashes. You get a reset immediately. Yeah, you gotta reset. I guess it works out. You're trying to beat their push. And you did get a reset on a cannon, so it's not the worst. I don't think you lose too much here. Okay, you don't lose too much. 1 minion, so not bad. Looked like it was a little delayed. Poppy, I think you don't have to stay this long. Once you realize that they're down here, I don't know if there's any indication that they're here, but once you realize that they're not contesting, you can back off. I also think alternatively, yeah, right here. So this is good. So I think you sweep out, you realize, okay, they're not up in this direction. Just zoning him up here and then being like, okay, I help him with the first 1 or 2 since he doesn't have priority. And then once he gets down to like 1.5, I probably reset right now. Take the reset. Just so I can go help my bot lane. Because if this team's smarter, they set up a dive. They instantly go, they shove this in and try and set up a dive they try and get Drake and they instantly dive here. So I think you need to be just wary of that. A good team will set that up really quickly and punish that if you don't reset quicker than you're doing. So that's the only thing I would say here is that you moving around the map is good. You just got to be a little more cognizant of when they can dive because like I said, they could have very easily dived the Xayah pre-6. Why are you getting so low in these trades? I need to watch some of these. I feel like you're way lower than you need to be. I need to go over that individually. I do think you're getting lower than you need to be in a lot of these trades. Another really good punish. Looks like the Poppy just is punishing whenever he's not positioning properly, so that's really good. Obviously, well played. But I'm not seeing any, I mean, some minor laning mistakes. This is good. Did we need to die there? That sucks to get a shutdown over. How much gold did y'all have? You had a lot of gold there. I don't know what the call is here. On this wave right here, I mean, you have a little 1,200 gold. I think this is worth a reset. This early in the game, I think you guys should have reset right here. I think, because this isn't an even trade for you guys. Yeah, that was a 500 gold swing in their favor because of the shutdown. So I think that Should I get another one? They get both. Oh man. So that play went from before you died, you're up almost 1,000 to the gold dead even because of an overstay. And I think the main thing is you just got to take the reset when the reset opportunity is there. There was no dive. If there was a dive angle there, I think that's totally different. If your jungler's pathing here and can be here at that moment, you're planning to dive, I think that you can totally do what you guys did. But I think overstaying here obviously led to you guys' death, and you guys just can't. Like I said, that's a 1,000 gold swing. So before the play, Xayah is down 1,000 gold. And after both deaths, Xayah is now down 100 gold. So I went from 1,000 to 100, and because of an overstay. So that after a kill like that, you get a crash and you want to reset a lot of times. I just think that overstaying there was the issue. If there was a dive set up, like I said, you can definitely stay, but there wasn't. So I do. Oh, I guess you haven't built it yet. I can't comment quite yet. Better wards, better vision. You should have seen it right here. Can you see it? Yeah, you saw. Walked up for another minion. Without sums, I guess you have flash. Probably should have just flashed out. No? Maybe you're dead already there. But that whole thing. Now the Kai'Sa's up 300 gold just in the span of went down from down 1,000 to up 300 in less than 2.5 minutes. So I really think it is like there. You just need to be a little bit more aware, and maybe that's the jungler's issue. There needs to be tracking of where the enemy jungler is. So if we go back to all, do we see her on the bot side? Is there any communication? And I'm not listening to your comms at the moment. I can listen to your comms later. I don't know if there's any, if the tracking's not there, but you guys need to have the visions if you guys are going to walk, especially if you don't have ultimates. Both of you don't have ultimate at level 5 and just use it on level 6. So it's really, really hard for you to just walk up that far with what little vision you had. So I think a little more communication from Viego of where he's at, where the enemy can be, things like that would have been good. Good try to hold the wave. That's good. And I was going to gank topside. So it looks like we're contesting this. The problem is you don't have ultimates, and they do. So you got to fight now while you have the ultimate, get the kill. Got flash, that's good. You guys still have to play slow because you guys don't have ultimates, and they do. Xayah gets a kill bot lane solo, so that's huge. But I just think you guys need to, like, here. I really don't think you guys can contest it at this point in the game. They have a Diana, a Galio, and a Yasuo. Sure, they have a Rakan too, but that's not quite as important. But you just don't have the disengage, because your main disengage tool, excuse me, is Poppy. Is Poppy ultimate and W, Xayah, Brutes, and Maokai are. Those are really your main disengage, push them away things. You don't right now. You just use Poppy W. You just use Poppy ultimate. Your Xayah's bot lane. Your Maokai's ult is on cooldown. What do you have to stop their engage here? You don't have anything. So you can't take this fight. You guys just can't. These grubbies aren't yours. is ultimately what it is you guys don't have the tools to take this fight. Because if they get the first jump like that, they're going to win these fights a lot of times. And, like, you guys get one, but that's it. Then I assume they get the grubs. It's just kind of playing into what their composition really wants to and what you guys doesn't want to. You shouldn't have the tools to be able to stop their composition at that point. And it's okay. You guys already got the first 8 grubs. Those aren't... You don't have a great split push comp. You don't even have a great siege comp. I don't think you guys needed to contest those first 3. Like, you need to stop their comp from getting 6 for sure. But stopping them at... I think you guys... Once you had 3, you guys didn't need to contest it. But you did get a trade back for the Drake, which is good. I think you're wasting a lot of time on the Viego. I think you're wasting an absurd amount of time here on the Viego. This is so... You guys get a kill, but you lose so much for that. Like, if this Diana is any good, your entire topside jungle is gone. I just think you were here. Let's look for getting Drake. You got Drake at 11:45. In the next, you then fake a gank. You fake. I think that's a fake roam too. Like, there's nothing to roam to. There's no pressure. There's no tools. You don't have ults. Like. The only reason you guys get a kill there is because the Kai'Sa walks up too far. And you went an entire minute 15 seconds with one camp, with your entire top side up. That's just really, really bad for tempo. She should get your blue buff. Yeah. Honestly, once you should bot, she should have instantly just gone into your jungle and taken top side. So I just think, while it worked out because you got a kill, I think that was really, really just a waste of time. Because Diana's up in gold at this point because she's been more... Even though you have 1 kill on her, she's up in gold because she's been way more efficient farming. So I think you need to be a little more efficient in your farming. You can't just do things like that where you sit here for you sit around a lane for a minute and a half, especially on a champion like Viego. If it was... Like, you're down 2 levels. If it were, I don't know, a Sejuani or something like that, I think that's a little more okay. But on something like the Viego, you don't want to do that. You want to be farming efficiently. So I think that was really, really just wasteful. It worked out barely, but I don't think it was even very good. You get rifts, that's good. Okay. I'm gonna condemn. I know I end up throwing you under the bus a lot because I'm a top laner. What are you building? Why are you building this first? Why are you building a freaking Unending Despair, an armor item, first? They have a Kai'Sa. So first of all, let's not even go to the Kai'Sa. You're against a Galio. Okay, AP. What is their jungler? Diana. Also AP. So the 2 people you are going to fight the most during the laning phase are both AP. Sure, they have a Yasuo, but then they have a Kai'Sa, who's also building more AP. But generally, you want to pick your first item based on these 2 roles. Usually, your first item is based on your lane opponent, but you can also take into consideration the jungler. Why are you building armor? Why are you building Unending Despair? Spirit Visage is by far the more important buy for your team and for you. So it should be Spirit into Fimbulwinter, and then you go Unending Despair. That's the change in the Maokai build if you are against an AP opponent. So it's either Unending into Fimbulwinter and then Spirit, or Spirit, Fimbulwinter, Unending. And in this case, it 100% should have been Spirit first. It just hurts your trade pattern. Like there's, it's so bad to build armor here. Gives you no value in the matchup. It's crazy you're actually winning it still. If Spirit, you just easily win that. I think you need to be a little more careful with these Victor W's. That's a really important tool for you. Where you drop that is really bad, considering like she was already out. You need to be dropping it behind. You want to drop the Victor W so they have to walk through it, not right on top of them. It can be good, but here it should have been angled up here further to force her to walk. You could have either. But we can show you. I'll show you. Look where she is right here. Your W is on cooldown. If you drop it right here, I think that's the range. I don't think I get indicators on here. I think you can get it right here. I could be totally wrong on the indicator. I apologize. I don't know the exact indicator. If you can place it right here, though, it either forces her to walk into your Poppy who's coming up, or it forces her to walk through it, or it forces her to walk out this direction. If you can place it like right there, it just forces all of that. And if you can place it even better, if you can place it down towards here a little bit, so like the middle of it's like right here, it makes it so she can't even walk this way. She has to walk this way. She can't walk up because she gets stunned, so she has to walk towards the turret. So I think that this placement on the W is just super late and not very good. That was a good reaction though to get on the whatchamacallit. What's her name? The Kai'Sa here. That was a good catch on the rotation. I don't know what she's doing. That's such a illegal rotation for her. And then you clean up. That doesn't even matter. They already lost this fight. Just a super good fight. Because that's one thing that's not only does your competition want to disengage their fights, but if you guys get the jump on them, then you guys are going to generally win fights. Their composition relies heavily on getting to your backline and getting the jump. And so having a jump like that is very, very good because you can do what you guys just did. You'll win team fights every time you beat them to the punch. Still can't believe bot and then Despair first. They have it on you. That's crazy. You got away with this. You should swap out. I see you getting blue trinket a lot. Blue trinket's so useless for you here. You're trying to be a flank type champion. You should be picking up a red trinket. Your whole thing is going into the enemy and looking for flanks, and red trinket is by far the better option for you. Blue trinket just doesn't add a ton of value for you. I can't believe that actually worked too. But, you know what? You'll take it. Oh, you get resets because you got Viego. Ah, nice stay. I mean, it's good. You're just punishing dumb mistakes they're making now. Like, they actually just go. That's crazy that Rakan does that. So is Kai'Sa? Oh man. I guess Kai'Sa gets a trade kill. Yeah. Kills. Where did Maokai come from? Did he TP in? No, he just walked out. He was just there. Again, red trinket would have been better. They don't have any words, so it worked out. Yeah, at this point they're just getting caught out over and over again. Like, on the same thing. You literally have done this rotation right here like 2 or 3 times now in the last 3 minutes. Just go Baron. I don't know. I think I force Baron here. I don't know why you guys are chasing. I think you just walk out. You have Maokai ult and stuff. You just go Baron. And it's a little late now, but once you had 2, you could really easily gotten Baron there. Another just you got behind him. Goodness. I don't know why you're pushing up so far like that. That feels like a wasted flash. There's no reason to be pushed up like that when your team is all on reset. Your entire team's on reset. Why are you pushed up that far and wasting your ultimate? Wasting your flash. Your reset timers need to be timed. Like if you're gonna sync up, like you should be synced up. I don't know. You didn't have a ton of gold, but your timers need to be synced up a little bit better. You being off the map while they're on the map is not as good. You want to be on the map at the same time and resetting at the same time at this stage in the game. This feels really, really forced at this point. I think that it looks like it works out just fine, but this sets them up for a really, like, they're kind of set up for a good combo if they just play this right. They don't, so it works out. They were down so much gold, it probably didn't even matter, so I think maybe you guys are just allowed to get away with it. That just felt it's really that those are always like where the biggest throws come from are doing a Baron in 5 people's faces because of the damage reduction and things like that. So I think as long as you had the idea that you were going to turn on that fight, I think that's fine. But that has to be the choice that you guys are going to turn. As I dies, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I think just walking up there, you just gotta let your teammates do that for you. Good lockdown. I mean, that should just be the end of the game. Okay. Why are you TPing mid here? What?
Rampage.
What? Why does a tier 2 matter when you guys are in the base? Oh, you keep what? You ended here. This is 100% just an end. They have 3 people dead. Maybe not an end. You get so much so. I think that's... You have Baron too. Okay, you lose a mid tier 2. Whoop-de freaking do. I think that is... So, that was... How is that worth it? How did that add any value? You should die for that. Why are you even backing there? What is that back? What is that back? That is the most greedy back I've ever seen in my life. That was super troll. Right before Drake spawns too? Yeah, it's super troll. Luckily your team is just so far ahead they're going to win the fight. They can delay long enough. Honestly, right now the enemy team is screwing up. They shouldn't force the Drake. They should force you fight on you guys. Yeah, they should be trying to force a fight onto you guys rather than forcing onto the Drake itself. I think this is misplayed by them. It's delaying too long for Maokai to be up. Luckily, you guys are so far ahead, it doesn't matter once they do force a fight. Yeah, I think that was a little troll. A little sequence there. Really, really stupid back and a really, really weird TP. Overall, I think that game was actually pretty smooth. I assume your comms were a lot better. I thought your macro was a lot better overall than previous games that I've watched. But okay.